Thank you so much for tuning in to the Awakening with Katina Love and segment on Inspiration Sunday. Awakening with Katina Love is a conscious talk show and your go-to resource to learn about self-empowerment, the law of attraction, creating financial abundance, and natural health. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Awakening with Katina Love, where there are over 80 shows to download for your listening pleasure. Our special guest today is Kristen Schmitt. Kristen is a small business consultant and small business owner who is the founder of Spirit Anchor, a national online community for metaphysical and metaspiritual practitioners. Today we're going to talk about what led Kristen on her spiritual path and how she was inspired to create the Spirit Anchor directory for metaphysical and metaspiritual practitioners worldwide. Thank you so much, Kristen, for being the guest today. How are you?
Hi, Katina. Thanks so much for having me. I'm doing great.
Wonderful. So you're out there in Maryland.
I'm in Maryland. I'm in Southern Maryland in the Chesapeake Bay, and it's absolutely gorgeous here today.
That's wonderful. Awesome. I think it's a wonderful thing when you're able to travel the world and see the world and change your scenery and do lots of fun stuff. So that's great. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what led you on your spiritual path.
That's such a great question. I will tell you, so I'm in my late 40s. I've always felt a connection to spirit, even when I was a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you, as a little girl and having special gifts, such as feeling energy, and as early as I can remember, I remember an instance when I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I was looking out my bedroom window in the suburbs of Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And asking my mother what all those men were doing walking through the field. And my mother, she got a little concerned and she looked out the window and she's like, I don't see what you see. And she said, well, describe to me, what do you see? And I said,
Mm-hmm.
well, I see these men and they look like they're in uniform and they're walking through the field. They look sad and they look sick and they look hurt. And I will tell you that my mother was a little taken aback, but I have an aunt, a great aunt who, as a little girl, found out she had special gifts. She was clairvoyant and a medium. So when my mother had told my great aunt about what I had explained to her, my aunt said, oh yeah, Kristen's got the gift. And
Wow.
so, I will tell you that I'm very fortunate that I was brought up in a family that embraced differences,
Mm-hmm.
everything from cultural, religious, and personal differences. So me having some special talents at an early age was certainly not frowned upon, but it really wasn't something that my parents kind of held my hand and said, oh, you should explore this and you should, talk to dead people. So,
Right.
yeah. So I spent the first 10 years of my life, probably seeing things that not everyone else saw. And as I got a little bit older and I tried to confide in some of my friends, I felt a little awkward. So
Mm-hmm.
pushed that to the background, because, when you're that age, you don't want to be different. You
Yeah.
want to fit in with the crowd. So,
Right.
when I got a little bit older in my late teens, my early 20s, I started meeting other people that had special gifts. And I started meeting some really interesting, albeit sometimes creepy people that would tell me things about, my talents. But it wasn't until my early 30s that I really started exploring what spirituality meant on a personal level. And I'd gone to 12 years of Catholic school and even went to a Catholic university for my undergrad. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of the things that I was taught, you really didn't talk about metaphysics. You really didn't talk about things that weren't taught in school or in church. So obviously I was very interested in exploring some of my gifts, but learning about gifts of what other people had, because I was meeting these people that, were doing some pretty interesting things and things that certainly weren't in mainstream metaphysics at the time. So we're talking like, mid 1990s to the late 1990s. And then in my 30s, I started meeting people who were well-known astrologers and healers and clairvoyants. And every time I meet with these people, they would say, you have a gift, right? You can
Wow.
do this. And I think that was kind of the time where I said, all right, what do I have to lose? But I think my biggest fear is I never wanted to connect with negative energies,
Yeah.
and things that were, so to speak, like in the dark arts.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it evolved. It really evolved. So from the time I was in my early 30s to my late 30s, I feel like my spirituality, I call it Pandora's box opened, because I asked for enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that I'm the Buddha or I'm an enlightened spiritual creature, but when I say enlightenment, I mean, I went from one way of thinking about how the world works, and taking religion out of it. And once I took
Yeah.
religion out of the mix, it was so freeing for me. And it really helped
Mm.
me identify that I could explore all these different modalities in a safe space and not feel like, like I said, when I was a little girl, like a weirdo. So,
Right.
I mean, I will tell you that it didn't happen overnight, and it's still an ever going process for me.
Yeah.
So in 2014, one of my best friends died. And this is somebody that I was very, very close with. And
Mm-hmm.
I was 44 at the time, and I started thinking, what is the next 40 years going to look like for me? Is it working? At that
Mm-hmm.
time, I had owned two very successful pet care businesses. One was a dog walking and pet sitting company, and the other was a pet store in Ferndale,
Mm-hmm.
which catered to everyone in the Metro Detroit area. And my specialty is that I carried all made in the USA pet food for dogs and cats, so holistic and organic foods.
Okay.
The problem with that is I was working 7 days a week and working about 12 hours a day. So
Oh, got it.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when Terry died, I started thinking, how do I want the next 40 years of my life to look? Is it working 7 days a week and just kind of going through the motions, or is my spirituality something that I really want to explore? I was fortunate enough that my manager wanted to buy my business.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it was good and bad. There was a lot of lessons in that, and that really tested my faith and my spirituality going through that. But I will tell you, I was led out to Southern California. Now, I had lived in California because the first 20 years of my career, I was a media producer. So I worked for National Geographic. I worked for,
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
so cool. That is
yeah.
so cool.
Oh, it was great. I mean, for 20 years, I got to travel. I lived in Hong Kong working for Nat Geo. I spent a lot of time in Germany working for a German company, and then a lot of time in LA. But this time, in 2014, I decided to go to Southern California. Now, I wasn't sure why I was going out there. And I had to
Mm-hmm.
kind of put it in Spirit's hands and say, all right, if this is where I'm being guided,
Right.
I'm okay with this, but why? And
Mm-hmm.
very shortly after I moved out there, I moved to Orange County. I came across a teacher named Dr. Ann Reith, and Ann runs Impart, the IWWC, which is the Impart Wisdom and Wellness Center. And I was
Hmm.
first introduced to her because I wanted to get a reading. Like, why am I out? Why am I out in California? What am I supposed
Yeah.
to do? I've
Uh-huh.
sold my businesses. I have no idea what I'm going to do. And I was doing some consulting at the time, but it didn't feel like this was, the end all be all, so to speak. So I show up at Anne's door, and it was like going to Harry Potter school.
Wow.
It was so cool. It was people who were mediums, angel
Oh
readers,
my
people who
God.
fairies, Reiki healers, shaman, Zen masters. I mean, it was just this culmination of people that were so immersed in the metaphysical world that I knew that's exactly why I had to be out there. And so I
Wow.
enrolled in her coursework. And for a year, I took classes, everything from, reading angel cards to working with a pendulum to doing tarot to interpreting dreams. I'm now a level 3 Asui Reiki practitioner and a level 1 Karuna Reiki practitioner. So I will tell you that was probably just one of the best experiences of my life, because I was surrounded with people who had these amazing gifts and were willing to share their experience and their wisdom, along with
Wow.
this woman, Anne Reith, who in her own right is this amazing spiritualist and this amazing medium and channeler. And just the energy, you'd walk into the room and your psychic abilities would be elevated. I mean, I was never so psychic in my life than when I was
Wow.
at doors, because when you're around people that have
Yeah.
those gifts. You're brought in to the mix, and it's really something special. One thing
That's amazing.
it was seriously, even though I don't live there anymore, it was in the top 5 experiences in my life, being able to attend her coursework and, meet and know the people that I met during that time. The one thing that I did want to tell you, one of the things that did change my life, during one of the classes, is I can't, and to be completely honest, I don't remember what class it was, but we did a meditation, and it was a guided meditation, and we were asking to speak to our spirit guides.
Wow.
And something switched in my brain where, you know how that you have all that mind garble, like you're always thinking about what's going on in your mind. And all this mindless chatter. Well, something happened where it switched off, and I was guided through a field. And the only thing I can explain it, there was a scene in the movie Gladiator where the lead character is walking through this field, and he's touching the wheat.
Wow.
Russell Crowe. Anyway, so here I am walking through, and I end up at this ravine, this water, almost like a lake. And I felt like I was in Africa.
Wow.
And there were, just by the topography, that's what the geographical area, it seemed like Africa. And as I'm looking around, there's zebras and elephants and
wow.
yes, and giraffe and lions and crocodiles and hippos, and they're all coming up to the lake by me, and they're all taking from this water, and nobody's fighting. It was so peaceful.
Wow.
And so I look and I see this man walking towards me, and he's dressed in white and almost of Arabic descent, dark skin, dark hair. And I said, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm Archangel Raphael." And
wow.
so the funny thing is I'm in this meditative state, but I can feel the tears just gushing from my eyes. And I look to my left, and I see this beautiful woman, also dark curly hair, all dressed in white. And I said, "Well, who are you?" And she said, "Well, I'm one of your spirit guides. My name's Sarah."
Oh, wow.
And so we all hold hands and we sit down, and I honestly don't remember the rest of the conversation, but that meditation and being introduced to an archangel really changed my life and really shifted how I thought of my time on earth, life and death, metaphysics, spirituality, and a myriad of other topics that just, like I said, something switched in me, and I knew that I would forever be changed.
That is amazing.
Really
Wow.
amazing. Yeah,
Wow.
I feel very fortunate. And I will tell you that after that, the other experiences that I've been privy to or allowed to experience have been very similar and very profound experiences. So about 6 months after that time, now during this time I was, I'm small business consulting, and one of my clients, Hornblower Cruises, had asked me to come on full-time to manage their sales department in both Los Angeles and Newport Beach. So I'm splitting my time between LA and Orange County, but something's not feeling right. And I'm getting very anxious about what I'm supposed to be doing. And so one night, I think it was a Friday night, I sat up and I prayed. I said, "God, what do you need me to do? How can I be of service? What would you like to see me do in this lifetime?" So I grabbed a piece of paper, and Katina, it's the first time I've ever done automatic writing. And
wow, my goodness.
I've heard of it, and I've explored, I've known people that have done it, and I did try it in the past, and it didn't quite work for me. I remember, when I was first starting on my spiritual journey, I was reading a lot of, metaphysical books by psychics, Sylvia Brown. And she said, you can do automatic writing. And so I did try it probably 10 years prior, but nothing really came to fruition. So this time I stayed up all night long, and that's how Spirit Anchor was. That's how it was born. And so when I say it was divinely inspired, it truly was divinely inspired.
That is amazing. So what did you write? What did Spirit write through you?
So it was, okay, so I had gone to Anne and said, hey, do we have a directory of people, in case I have any questions? And she said, well, we kind of do things through Facebook, and, you can reach out to people that way. And I said, yeah, but we need more resources. And she said, Kristen, I just do not have time, to do this. I'm running this school, and,
Yeah.
we're all so busy, and everyone has full-time jobs. So this was something that I had asked her probably a month or two before I did this automatic writing. So somewhere Spirit had planted that seed
Yeah.
in my head about doing a directory. So during the night of the automatic writing, I wrote down everything from what I wanted as a professional from this website to what Spirit, it was just flowing through me. To be completely honest, the details are so varied because I didn't really feel like it was me. I felt like it was channeling through me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a notebook that is just filled with scribble. And it was really funny to look at it the next day because I got up and I was exhausted. Because I would go to bed, and then 5 seconds later I would jump back up and have to go straight back to the notebook and start writing more down. And when I woke up the next day, when I looked through all of the materials, I thought, did that really happen?
Right.
But of course, I've been experiencing all these really cool things. So I'm like, of course it happened. And why not? Why couldn't it happen to me? I mean, I think that's the one thing as, people in this profession go through is, am I crazy? Or did that just really happen? Or am I crazy? So even though I've seen and witnessed all these amazing things, otherworldly kind of things, I still feel like down deep, I have that skeptic nature to really question, which I think is good. And I think a lot of people should always question, is this really happening, or is what this psychic telling me real? Because unfortunately, there's a lot of nefarious readings going on out there. And so people should always definitely use their instinct to make sure that they know exactly what they're getting into. But with Spirit Anchor, I'll tell you, it just, it blew my mind. So I took 24 hours and I just kind of marinated the whole thought because I thought, this is just crazy. And am I willing to give up this very high paying job? Mm-hmm. To start a new business. And I, to be completely honest, I was a little burned out from my other businesses, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to, go down that path again. So I think that was a Friday night, and Sunday I had sold my house in Michigan when I moved out and, when I sold my businesses. So really got rid of everything. I called my mother on that Sunday and said, hey, I've got a new idea for a business, and kind of gave her the gist of what had happened without, really trying to freak her out. And said, I said, can I come home? Can I live with you for a couple months while I get this business off the ground? I said, I don't know how it's going to manifest, but I feel so compelled to do this. And this was around the time of my birthday, which was May 1st. So this automatic writing happened around my birthday. And I think that's part of the reason that I was asking Spirit for guidance, because I was, getting to my upper 40s and really wanting to know, why am I here? What am I doing? So, so I went back to Michigan, and fortunately had a great space. I created a home office, and just started unfolding the details. And so I left California, and I left all my friends at Impart, and I left a wonderful employer who said, anytime you want to come back, kind of like looking at me like, what are you doing? Why are you going through? If you ever want to come back, you have a job.
I get it.
Yeah. So, I really started, I work with these clients. I help small businesses get off the ground. I help them take their beautiful ideas and help them unfold and come to fruition. For me, it's interesting because I just kind of do what I do. But this was different because this wasn't coming from me. This was coming from Spirit. Mm-hmm. So I really methodically planned everything out, from the website to the collateral material to the name of the business. And Spirit Anchor for me, I know a lot of times people might think an anchor is something that drags you down, but for many of us in the metaphysical world, we have to ground ourselves. We have to be grounded. Otherwise, we take on other people's energy. A lot of times they're bad energy. So I just wanted to it just came to me, honestly. I really don't know where it came from. It was in the automatic writing, but I knew I wanted to do something with spirit. And I knew that there was going to be an anchor in there. I just kept visualizing it. So that's how Spirit Anchor, that's how the name came about.
Wow.
So I just started, had done some research. I knew of a website producer in the Lansing area, Lansing, Michigan, who worked and did databases. So I reached out to them really soon after I knew that I was moving home and said, hey, can you get me some pricing? This is what I want to do, and got the pricing. And I had fortunately had some savings. I mean, this was scary. You know, I'm leaving this great job. I'm moving back to Michigan. You know, part of me is like, you know, do you feel like a failure? No, this is something that I really want to do. So at that point, I put all error and caution to the side and said, do it, because this is something you're being guided to do. How often does spirit literally hit you over the head with an idea? Right. You have to do it. You know, you have to do it. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. So it took me about 4 months to develop the website. It took a lot longer than I thought it was. I thought I moved home in July. I thought I would have the website up and running by the 1st of September, but it was about a month later in October that we launched. And, you know, and not really having a ton of money to spend on it. I did a lot of grassroots marketing. I did a lot of, you know, I call it guerrilla marketing, where I just pretty much did all the research on my own. I didn't buy any lead lists. I just researched fellow practitioners from coast to coast. So we launched in October, and to date, we have just over 150 members.
Wow.
And yeah, it's great. And those members have skills that are seriously so amazing to me. I mean, honestly, it's just some of the people, like I just met an equine healer in Michigan. And she's a new member, and she heals and is an animal communicator.
Wow.
And, you know, I mean, the thing is I will tell you that the one thing, and when I say thing, it's because that's all it is that I had to get over, is not having to worry about explaining myself about what this website was. Because I knew deep down that you're either going to like it or you're not. It's not going to be for everyone. So the most important element of that was making sure that the website was clean and professional and didn't give off that creepy vibe, which a lot of times, you know, in the research that I did, I was like, wow, I would never hire this tarot reader. I would never hire this psychic, you know? And and the other thing too is absolutely no dark arts. So
not at all.
Yeah,
I checked it out. It's a beautiful website, and there's so much to offer.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, I really never do anything half-ass, excuse my French, but
it's cool.
You know, I just wanted to make sure that people, when they came to the website, got a good feel from it. So whether somebody does, you know, vortex healing or Akashic records, you know, doula work, or, you know, any type of energy work or Kabbalah, I mean, anything. I mean, they have a place now. They have a safe space where they can share their talent. So the website has, obviously on the homepage, we have what is Spirit Anchor. So that kind of tells our potential new members and our visitors what Spirit Anchor is all about. And if you go to the homepage, it's just basically introducing people who are like-minded or curious about metaphysics, to kind of explore the website and see what they can extrapolate and what they could use. So then the second component is we do have that directory. And the reason the directory was really important to me is I wanted people to be able to reach out to other people if they had questions about what they were learning on the website. So for example, if you go to the directory, you can actually put in a keyword for like angel reader, or even, you know, if somebody has a specialty in ruins, you know, or if they wanted to just talk about orbs. I'm seeing these orbs in my photos, that they could actually find a professional either in their area or remotely, because a lot of our practitioners, our professionals do work remotely. So they could
Yeah.
just put in keywords, or they could put in their zip code and find out, if there's a business in their area, or, who they wanted to talk to. So I will tell you, we've got a couple different options for the directory, and that is, an enhanced membership where you can see somebody's photo and all their specialties and have all their contact information. And those people are pretty much the members that get the most inquiries, because our visitors can really see who who they could be working with. And then, we have a forum, which is my favorite part of the website. And this was something that when I was doing my automatic writing, I kept hearing, you need a place where people can ask questions and get, concrete information. So the forum actually has, I think we've got about 30 topics, from ascended masters and natural paths, near-death experiences, shamanism, UFOs, the other side tarot, spirit guides, and so on. So you can actually start a thread or reply to a thread. And this is kind of the one area, it's my favorite area, but it seems to be the one area that not a lot of people use. So over the next couple months, we're really going to be pushing the forum for our members and our visitors, because I'd really like to see this dialogue, get started about different topics in metaphysics and metaspiritual practices. And then we also have a really great resources page. I'm really excited about this. This is a place where people can find out about events in their areas. So for example, there's the Awake and Empower Expo that's coming up in November in the Detroit area, and it's put on by a man named Ethan Fox, who's a great spiritualist. I attended the event last year and it blew my mind. I met people who did everything from geogrids and feng shui to, UFO specialists. And I'm walking around and I'm seeing people moving stuff with their minds. I'm seeing healing going on, and I'm seeing astral projection. So you can actually get on the events page and find areas or find events in your area, or people can submit their events to me and I'm happy to post them. In the beginning, we were a little more like, you only have to be a paid member to do that. Now, this is my love letter to my spiritual community.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Yeah, anybody can submit and get the information they need. We have monthly forecasts, which is courtesy of world-renowned astrologer Susan Blair Hunt. So she provides a kind of a broad forecast, not just specific to your horoscope. It's a monthly forecast. And I will tell you, every week I read her horoscopes and it relates to something that's going on into my life, even though it's not horoscope centric. So I really love that. We have an area where you can find metaphysical schools and retreats in your area. There's also an FAQ portion for people that really want a little more insight to what they're getting into when they come to the website. Now we also have our blog, which you know about.
Yeah,
and that I featured you on.
Yes.
And thank you so much for that. And I really enjoyed having you be a part of that. The blog is a place where people can learn about professionals doing the work that they're doing. And just learning more about people, and then, possibly reaching out to those people if they want to further explore a relationship with that person as far as hiring them or, picking their brain. So really, honestly, that blog it's such a vast array of information, from interviews with people like Katina Love to, talking about angels. So again, it's very vast.
How do you find the blog?
So that again, that's on our resources page. So unfortunately, I didn't want 1,000 topics on the nav bar. So if you go to the resources page, you'll find the events, you'll find the horoscopes, you'll find the schools and retreats, you'll find the blog, you'll find terms and other related resources. And that's actually really good. So there's actually a section in the resources for your metaphysical business practice. So these are tools for people to help with their practice. I called Vistaprint and said, hey, I want to give my members a discount on business cards. Great. Here's a code. So people can, I've reached out to other people and asked them to help our members, or, anyone. It doesn't just have to be the members. And then there's a retail page. Now, this is something that I don't have a store. This is a drop ship retail store, but we've got over 4,000 items to choose from.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's really great. And I will tell you, it's, I do love it because you can find just about anything. So, you can find an Ankh bag, you can find guided meditation, you can find information on psychic developments, Tibetan totes and yoga supplies. So it's not just limited to, somebody's practice. It's a whole wealth of retail that people can buy. So I needed to, and like I said, this is the love letter to my spiritual community, but the hosting and the development was very expensive. So I needed that retail on there just to kind of, possibly help pay with some of the hosting. So, so I feel like it's a really well-rounded website, and I feel like the information on there provides a great deal of information for people in all different areas and levels of their profession. And it will continually evolve.
Wonderful. I'm so glad that you have it.
Thanks.
To us.
Yeah, thanks. No, I'm really proud of it. And, I will tell you, it in the beginning, I thought it was going to be something, but it has transitioned into something that, like I said, I keep going back to that love letter to my spiritual community. Mm-hmm. And that's what Spirit wanted me to do.
That is amazing. So if someone wanted to reach out to you and find out more about Spirit Anchored and how they can be featured and how they can become a member, how would they reach out to you?
Sure. So the first thing I'm going to suggest is that you go to the website, www.spiritanchor.com, and kind of rifle through all the pages and get a little bit more familiar with what we do. There is an area on there that asks if you'd like to join the directory, and there's information on what you need to do in order to get listed in our directory. But if somebody has any questions about what I do, or, more information about metaphysics or any of my skills, they can reach out to me directly via email, and that would be Kristen@spiritanchor.com, and it's KRISTEN@spiritanchor.com. You can also go to the website, and there's a contact us page, and you just fill out the information, and I'm really good about getting back to my emails within a really short amount of time. So
wonderful. Wow, it's already 30 minutes, over 30.
I can talk, girl.
Time goes fast. I just want to thank you, Kristen, so much for sharing Spirit Anchor with us and making it available, and for all that you do.
Well, thank you, Katina. I really appreciate the opportunity. Obviously, I like to talk, and I like to talk about Spirit Anchor. So
that's wonderful. And thank you for being a guest on Awakening with Katina Love as well. We'll have to have you come back on again sometime in the future.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. Namaste.